Hi, I'm Marine veteran Deborah Cottrell. You're watching the Veterans Opportunity Magazine on the Veterans Opportunity Network. On this edition of Veterans Opportunity Magazine, we will explore jobs, career, and business opportunities within the oil and gas industry. So right after these messages, we'll return for this edition of Veterans Opportunity Magazine.
Hey, my name's Dave Greenawalt, and I am an employment specialist with Cleveland Brothers Equipment Company. Here we are at one of our facilities. We highly seek after veterans for employment.
My name's Michael Shadron. I'm a U.S. Navy veteran. I've worked here at Cleveland Brothers for approximately 5 years.
From my experience as a veteran, I understand when I go to do hiring for positions in the heavy equipment industry that veterans bring a lot to the table. They bring to us discipline. So we know that those individuals have a track record.
I mean, the military has excellent training. And you gain great experience, leadership knowledge, regardless of what rank you're at.
They're going to show up to work on time. They're going to have a good attitude, and they're going to be receptive to orders and be able to perform under maybe demanding or high pressure situations.
Yeah, I've always liked mechanical things. Yeah. More complicated mechanical things.
We enjoy and we highly seek after veterans. They were looking into this type of employment as a heavy equipment mechanic and hopefully be able to give them employment with Cleveland Brothers Equipment Company.
You're watching the Veterans Opportunity Magazine on the Veterans Opportunity Network. Coming up, a leading West Virginia oil and gas industry spokesperson and corporate executive Dave Drennan explains why veterans should pursue opportunities in oil and gas.
I think there's a natural fit between the oil and gas industry and the veterans and military people in the United States. I think there's a understanding of the need for each in the country. The oil and gas industry and the energy industries in general is so critical to the manufacturing in the country, to providing just the basic needs for heat and light in the homes here throughout the country. And certainly the military relies so heavily on the need for energy. Well, after World War II, when so many veterans came back from the war, so many of them became engaged in the oil and gas industry and the mining industries in the United States that they've worked well together, and I think that will easily continue. The oil and gas industry is a complex, diverse industry that covers a multitude of different disciplines within the industry, and I believe that the skill set that comes from people who have been in the military lends itself well to what the oil and gas industry does. The people that come out of the military are well trained in areas of technology, instrumentation, automation, and those things all lend themselves well to what we do in the oil and gas industry. And I believe that the spirit of teamwork that people who have been involved in the military fits in well with what we do in the oil and gas industry. I've seen several studies that indicate that it takes about 400 people to drill and complete one well. Now, obviously, those 400 people, once that well is completed, they'll move on to another well, and we'll work on a multitude of wells. But that's a large team working to make that happen. And people who have been involved in the military understand the necessity of doing your part to get the mission accomplished, and that's exactly what we do in the oil and gas industry. We employ truck drivers and welders and accountants and lawyers and geologists and engineers and mechanics and a host of other trades and disciplines, and it takes every single one of them to be successful.
I'm Marine veteran Deborah Cottrell. You're watching Veterans Opportunity Magazine on the Veterans Opportunity Network. Up next, training is a key component to getting vets prepared to enter the oil and gas industry workforce.
This Veterans Opportunity How to Succeed segment is brought to you by PIOGA, the Pennsylvania Independent Oil and Gas Association.
I am Dr. Byron Kohut. I am the Western Hub Director for Marcellus ShaleNet at Westmoreland County Community College, and I oversee the implementation of the Marcellus ShaleNet grant. ShaleNet is a United States Department of Labor Education and Training Administration community-based job training grant aimed at providing job placement assistance, job awareness, career exploration, and training for individuals interested in entry-level positions in the natural gas industry.
I remember I said the Barnett Shale is right here, so that's Texas. They've been drilling that Barnett Shale for probably 20 years now, 20 years plus, and it's downtown Fort Worth, Texas. You could be in downtown Fort Worth and there's a drilling rig right behind your apartment building. 20 years of jobs right here. This is where they advanced the technology of hydraulic fracturing and horizontal drilling. All right. What they're doing is taking all these people and they transplanted them here because that's where the expertise exists.
ShaleNet provides an entry, an industry overview into natural gas, specifically Marcellus in Pennsylvania, but also the Utica.
Talking about the size of Marcellus. Yeah. All right. There's a lot of Utica right there too.
Any jobs that you can find in natural gas, ShaleNet provides the access to that information.
Drilling and completion, that's what this class is about. There's 410 jobs on a well site. That's what our studies show. There could be as much as 700 people, 700 occupations on one well site. Okay.
For the veterans, we provide cohort classes. So we will put together a ShaleNet class just for veterans. In the past, we've worked with the National Guard mostly. The Army Reserve has now learned about our program. I attend workshops. I serve as on an advisory board for recruiting for the Army Reserve. And every one of our classes, we require at least 10% of our students to be veterans. And for the most part, we average between 4 and 7 veterans for our classes.
I've seen 20 to 25 years of drilling from different companies. Drilling only. And production, but 20 to 25 more years of drilling. It's huge. I would retire in 25 years of drilling. Like I said earlier, it's a perfect job for us right now.
The veteran is an ideal candidate for employment in natural gas. Work hard, long hours, leadership, follow, safety. They're going to be gone away from home for some time, so they have the experience and the work ethic that the industry is really looking for. So ShaleNet spans anybody from all walks of life can enter ShaleNet, but just our outreach to the veterans is how we get them involved.
This Veterans Opportunity How to Succeed segment was brought to you by PIOGA, the Pennsylvania Independent Oil and Gas Association.
Right after these messages, we'll return for this edition of Veterans Opportunity Magazine.
In the current oil and gas edition of Veterans Opportunity Magazine, we explore opportunities derived from the development of new and emerging energy sources within the dynamic oil and gas industry sector. Within the pages of the Oil and Gas edition, you'll find articles that highlight job, career, and business enterprise opportunities for veterans. Our Emerging Energy section looks at how innovation has created new and unconventional oil and gas sources. Where the Jobs Are looks at entry-level positions that represent rising employment opportunities as a result of the development of unconventional energy sources such as natural gas. In our Career Outlook section, we showcase regional natural gas training programs underwritten and supported by the oil and gas industry along with their workforce and education partners. And in an industry built on working relationships between prime contractors and suppliers, we focus in this edition on what entrepreneurs working in the industry believe vets need to know to be successful product and service providers. And finally, we have launched an interactive directory of veteran opportunity providers that links readers directly to print and video messages designed to promote job, career, and business opportunities for veterans.
You're watching the Veterans Opportunity Magazine on the Veterans Opportunity Network.
This Veterans Opportunity How to Succeed segment is brought to you by Small Biz Video Network. Small business, big picture.
I'm Ken Buzz, president of the Morgantown Area Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber has a program called Vet Connection, and it all began with a visit of the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff almost 3 years ago to see how returning veterans were being brought back into the community in education, healthcare, and employment. So he asked before he left if we couldn't help veterans, make it easier on them to find the services and programs that are available to them. So Vet Connection came out of that. It has as its root a website that has many of the programs we can locate that veterans and families can take advantage of to help them. The one thing, if nothing else, it has raised the conscious level of people in this community to the plight of veterans, that they don't realize just what a veteran's up against when they come back from active service. And that's what Vet Connection is designed to do, help them get the help and opportunities available to them that they might not know about otherwise.
Welcome back to the Veterans Opportunity Magazine.
At a recent conference in West Virginia hosted by Veterans Opportunity Magazine and VetConnection.org, a Morgantown, West Virginia-based nonprofit and provider of information services to veterans, we had an opportunity to speak with one of the organization's co-founders and Senior Vice President of Clear Mountain Bank, Frank Vitale.
An industry like oil and gas, who needs aggressive, hardworking, quite honestly, particularly young people, it's a great matchup for them to hook up with veterans that are returning to the United States and separating from the military. Jobs mean community. When someone has a job, they have a community around them where they work. And community is support. Just like family, that's a community. Well, so is a job. But a job also gives you a sense of empowerment. It gives you a sense of accomplishment. And purpose. And when you don't have those things, you begin to get introspective and you begin to look at, why don't I have a job and why aren't things going right for me, and I've sacrificed so much for my country and for my family. And then other things happen, unfortunately, like divorce and debt. So these things all combine. The younger population is more motivated as far as a demographic of veterans to go out and gain employment opportunities, particularly and immediately after they return from or they separate from the military. And the reason is because the quicker they get into the workforce, the much more productive they are, successful they are, and the much more likely they are to psychologically reassimilate to the community and to civilian life, as opposed to the veteran who is left out, who has difficulty finding a job, who consequently may turn to drugs and alcohol to satisfy some pains, and who also may struggle to have a place to live because of a lack of a job. Veterans that are returning right now, and have been returning for the last 10 years, are it's more unlikely that they will engage the VA for benefits than it is that they will engage them. So approximately only 42% of eligible veterans use VA benefits. So less than half. Why is that? There are a lot of reasons. But chief among them is that when a veteran separates, they want to be separated. They want to be done with the military. And even though benefits are out there for them to utilize, many times they would rather go to community, the local community, to get resources and jobs and support. They want to really disconnect from the government, period. And that's the number one reason that I hear about when I'm out in the field. So with that, I think that they are looking for opportunities, but organizations like yours and mine need to approach them from a civilian, non-governmental standpoint. And I think they'll be much more open to seeking our resources.
Right after these messages, we'll return on the Veterans Opportunity Network.
I believe that solar electricity is going to be the future. The panels are getting more and more efficient. The cost of your product is getting cheaper, and the demand for electricity is increasing. This is something you're going to put on your building, and it's going to make you money day one. This is something that you don't have to turn a switch, you don't have to do anything but periodically clean off the panel. If you never clean it, they're still going to give you electricity. There's panels that are over 30, 40 years old that are still working. Before each job, we have the actual panels, the actual system that my employees put that system together several times before we come to the site. My customer doesn't have to worry about the product failing and having expense later on down the road. That product has your name on it. You want to make sure that the customers bragging about how this product is lasting, this product is working, this product is doing better than I expected it to do.
Welcome back to the Veterans Opportunity Magazine.
This How to Succeed in Business Roundtable discussion is brought to you by Small Biz Video Network. Small business, big picture.
I worked for OSHA for 20 years, and I'm a mining engineer, and I did safety and health. And being that the need for the safety and health end of it, I open up my own business, and I go out and do safety and health audits. I do a lot of training. I do the safety on WVU oil and gas, the OSHA 10-hour forklift, HAZWOPER. I do any kind of training that they need in the oil and gas industry.
Mm-hmm. So you play to your skills.
Yes.
Which is what
right.
we're advocating.
There's veterans that are coming out that are maybe not able to do the physical work, and what you said exactly
it applies to them as well.
Could apply to somebody that doesn't have all their, something has happened to them. We actually know a GIS tech at an oil and gas company up in New York who is in a wheelchair, and she's one of their best. She's a geologist, and she's one of their best employees, and she does an awesome job. And I know we're going to get veterans that they have disabilities after coming out, and they're going to need to be able to do something like that. So some training, some technical training, and what Greg just mentioned would be something very good for them to pursue, something like that.
So what are some of the first things, what's one of the first things that you did when you decided to start your company? Did you look at the demand? Is that one of the first things you did?
Yeah, I looked out and what companies were requiring, because a lot of the oil and gas companies, a lot of the producers, they're requiring the training because they're using all the subs. So they're trying to keep their training above and beyond. They're trying to keep it up to par so we don't have any accidents out in the industry.
Okay. And when it comes to advice that you would offer, Greg, what about playing to someone's strength? How would you advise someone in the military who is looking for something outside of the industry, the labor part of the industry? What should they do to kind of match their experience with the possibilities, even though, it might not be as obvious?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good question. I think what I would do if I were in that position is I would try to identify what are all these types of jobs that are created from shale gas. And just looking at it from that picture, you have the extraction piece that we've been talking about, which for the most part, it has a lot. It's very labor intensive, although there are components of extraction that are not labor intensive, as we've discussed, acquiring the leases and the title abstracts, and then you have the whole pipeline pieces of securing rights of way, so that someone can build gathering lines and pipelines and all those sorts of. I would try to identify all those different types of opportunities, and maybe that's something that the Veterans Opportunity Network can help to provide as a resource as well. And you have those opportunities, and then do some research on what each one of those are to understand. Are there physical requirements? Are there training requirements? Do I need a college degree? Do I need certification? Do I just need to get good at this particular skill? What are the things that it requires? And then I would probably try to talk to somebody that does that kind of work. If I could, just try to find somebody that does that kind of work and ask them how they got started and how they got going. And I will say something about oil and gas that is maybe compared to manufacturing or other things, in that oil and gas has a lot of companies there are a lot of contractors that do different roles, and a lot of things are subbed out to entrepreneurs and small businesses. And so if you spend some time talking to people in the industry, I think you can maybe find those things where you have the skill sets that map well with what some of the needs are. Exactly.
And did you, for example, did you go about networking within the industry? How did you go about doing that?
I spend a very large amount of time going to functions, Tioga functions, Ioga of New York, setting up tables, booths, talking to people. And now that the oil and gas industry is really taken off, you could probably go to something every week, right? You could. There's functions all the time. You couldn't possibly go to every function there is, and it's amazing. Every function I go to, you find somebody that has something or gives you an idea, or you gain some kind of insight into what is needed or what you could do. So networking things, for example, like this, is very valuable to learn what's out there.
And I'll tell you what, in networking, I would not hide the fact. If I were a veteran, I would not keep that a secret.
No.
I think that's a good thing. I think just in general, culturally within the oil and gas sector, that's going to be looked upon favorably for all the right reasons. I think generally a lot of people in the oil and gas sector view themselves, just in general, maybe slightly compared to the average population, they view themselves as doing something important to the country. I mean, energy independence and all these kinds of things. It just seems to be a theme that runs throughout the sector. So, I wouldn't hesitate at all to share that with others.
Right, and I think veterans are they're more disciplined, and I think they're not afraid of hard work, and I think they'd be very, very good candidates for work in the oil and gas industry.
Yeah, frankly, when I talk to people in the oil and gas sector, they talk in general that the younger people today just aren't as hard workers in general, just across the board.
That's right.
And so that probably...
And a lot of veterans I talk to, they're very respectful. They're very respectful, very hard workers.
Absolutely.
And
it's critical for the veterans to get out and network and go to these events.
Absolutely.
Because you don't know who you're going to run into. It may take 2 or 3 meetings for you to kind of get your bearings and figure out exactly what your role might be. You need to get out and get the word out and to meet people and get involved. And you would be surprised that just by going to 2 or 3 events in a row, you'll kind of start to piece things together and learn about the industry. It's critical you get out, and 90% of life is showing up. So you just need to get out and get involved with things. Things won't come to you. You have to go get things.
And that's a very, very good point, because when I started my business, being a woman in the oil and gas industry, even though my husband's in the petroleum engineer in the industry, it's very hard and it's very intimidating when you walk into a big show or you walk into a meeting and there's all these guys maybe in suits or big, and you don't know who they are. So it's an intimidation factor. And if you get a woman, you get a veteran, you get somebody that doesn't really feel comfortable. What I started doing was just walking up to people and saying, hello, my name's Debbie, how are you? And shaking her hand. And you get a lot of response. It's amazing. But it's tough to do that. It's tough to get to that point. So if you start getting out there, and what do companies want? They want people out there that are forward, that are going to try to work.
Yeah, but that whole dynamic, I mean, it applied to me too.
Absolutely.
I mean, you know, it's not unique to women, or, you know, I was every bit as intimidated as
That's right.
described when I first started reaching out.
So it really does matter to lose your inhibitions and to get out there.
Speak up.
And speak up. Because if you don't ask and you don't put yourself out there, you're not going to get any results. So I think we're all agreed on that one.
Yeah.
This How to Succeed in Business Roundtable discussion was brought to you by Small Biz Video Network. Small business, big picture.
Join us on our next installment of Veterans Opportunity Magazine on the Veterans Opportunity Network. I'm Marine veteran Deborah Cottrell.
Veterans Opportunity Magazine introduces its newest quarterly publication focused on job, career, and business enterprise opportunities for veterans within America's super business and industry sector, manufacturing. Within the pages of the manufacturing editions of Veterans Opportunity Magazine, we will promote many of the key U.S. industries that, taken together, establishes the U.S. manufacturing industry as the world's largest and the significant driver behind U.S. innovation and technology. Veterans Opportunity Magazine's Manufacturing Quarterly is intended for veterans and transitioning military personnel who are seeking to learn more about where the jobs are, what career paths make sense, and what are the business, entrepreneurial, and supplier opportunities within an evolving U.S. manufacturing industry sector. And finally, we have launched an interactive directory of veteran opportunity providers that links readers directly to print and video messages designed to promote job, career, and business opportunities for veterans.